To start by apologizing for Paige, as evidently she broke the microphone already. No, I didn't have to say that out loud, did I? I'm sorry. I apologize again for apologizing for you. On a college order, my name is Stephen Purvis, and I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's Ellijay City Council forum. I look forward to an evening that allows us to get to know each of the candidates and their respective platforms. I would like to thank the candidates for agreeing to participate tonight, and you, the audience, for your time, your attention, and your engagement. I'd also like to thank Piedmont for allowing us to host the event in the wonderful building, and also the staff of the Chamber for the work they put into preparing for tonight. Before we get started, though, I would like for Jared Eric to give this evening's invocation, if he will. The microphone's broke, I'm sorry, I can't see.
All right, if you'll bow with me, let us pray. Father, Lord, we thank you for another day and another time for us to gather here together tonight. And Lord, we pray and thank you for all of the people, the men and women that are gathered here, that all want to make this community a better place. God, I pray for our elected officials from Washington all the way down to our local level. And God, we just ask that you be with them, give them the wisdom and the guidance to make the decisions that they need to on a daily basis. And God, I ask that you be with us tonight in this forum, and that you give all the honor and glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Gary. I really appreciate that. If I could, first, I think everyone knows everyone, but if I could, when I call your name for the candidates, if I could just get you to stand and turn around and maybe wave, blow them a kiss, I don't care what you do at that point. But I'm going to call you out in order, and then that will be the order that we will go in from that point forward. Mr. Charles Barkley? Is he here? Okay. Jerry Baxter? Mr. Tom Crawford? Mr. Jerry Davis? Mr. Brent DeFore? Mr. Al Fuller? Mrs. Katie Lansing? Mrs. Sandy Ott? Mr. Kevin Pritchett? And Mr. Brad Simmons. All right, thank you guys all for coming, and ladies. I don't mean that in a derogatory way, I promise. All right, so at that point, I want to go ahead and introduce how we're going to run the format tonight. Obviously, we have 9 candidates here. So with that, and to be respectful of everyone's time, we're going to limit each candidate to only 3 minutes to introduce themselves and their platforms. They've all been made aware of that particular thing. You can get other pertinent information they so choose. Afterward, we will invite each of the candidates and the attendees tonight to remain for an open mix and mingle time that you can meet each of the candidates and ask them any specific questions that you may have. That part of the program will conclude before 8 p.m. Being respectful of everyone's time tonight, we do not have the opportunity for a rebuttal between candidates. Acknowledging this, and in an effort to be fair to the candidates that go first and the candidates that also go last, we have asked each of them to only talk about their own platforms and the issues they want to address. We felt this was the most fair, as an earlier candidate would not have the opportunity to address what a latter candidate may say. We specifically asked them not to mention what their opponents may or may not choose to support and what they believe their opponents' views may be. The individual question and answer session at the end of tonight's formal program will allow each of you to address what you like with each candidate. Also, being respectful of everyone's time, we will strictly adhere to the 3-minute time limit. Mrs. Paige Green will give a warning at 30 seconds with a piece of paper that says, very neatly written, 30 seconds, and another one that says 15 seconds. And I doubt you can read either one of them from here because I wrote them. But when the first paper goes up, it's 30. When the second paper goes up, it's 15. And she's already broke the microphone tonight. I don't want to have to hurt anybody here. With that being said, each candidate has been made aware of all the formats before this evening's event. And with that, let's get this underway. Calling them in alphabetical order, I would like to start with Mr. Jerry Baxter.
Thank you. I'm not a speaker, I'll tell you that up front. Well, I'm like everybody else. Well, first, I'd like to thank the council because I do appreciate this opportunity. Holding taxes down, which everybody here will say that. Because you raise on yourself, you know? And we've got a good chance of doing something. I mean, we'll have 3 new members, whoever's elected. It'd be 5, but I think, well, I know it'd be at least 3. I get started coughing now. I can't help it. Every vote counts. Last time I got beat by 1 vote. So every vote counts. I think the council really is, they're working with tourism, and it's a good thing. It would be nice to have some industry in here. I don't really know how to go about it, but I would like to try. Restaurants, that'd be nice too. I'd like to have a Cracker Barrel. That's about it for me. I would really appreciate your vote. Other than that, I'll give it back to you.
Thank you. Next up, I'd like to call Mr. Tom Crawford.
Thank you. Well, I'm not going to ad-lib very much because I'm going to run way over 3 minutes if I do that. So I've got a little script here I'm going by because I really want to be very specific in what I stand for, what I want to do. I've been a permanent resident of Ellijay for over 10 years. My mother's side of the family has been in Ellijay well over 100 years. I'm an agency owner with American Family Insurance in Canton, Georgia, but of course my home is here. My wonderful wife Donna and I have 3 grown children. Ellijay has become a destination city. I believe in responsible growth through preserving historic aspects of downtown Ellijay while promoting the growth of new business. I embrace small town values and our faith community. We must balance our values with inevitable growth. My platform, number 1, I will give a fresh new look in leadership to our growing community. I have the drive to deliver and the energy to get things done, realizing that I will be one of 5, and I have to naturally get along with everybody else, and I'm a good team player. Number 2, keep our tax burden low by increasing new business in the city of Ellijay. Number 3, pursue responsible annexation, once again, responsible annexation, to attract new business and housing, only when it benefits Ellijay citizens as a whole. Develop a guidebook in conjunction with the Department of Community Affairs indicating the type of new business we want to see in Ellijay. Work with the Northwest Georgia Regional Commission to pursue grants based off the 2025 Comprehensive Plan, which includes expansion of sidewalks, funding for the downtown master plan, for traffic, for parking, landscaping, signage, historic preservation, pedestrian facilities, and housing. Hiring independent grant writers to help with immediate needs such as grant for demolition by neglect. That's something that really needs to get done in this town. If we've got a property and we need to demolish it, we can take care of it with a grant. Developing ordinances that will enhance our downtown city limits. Develop a sidewalk ordinance which will prevent future use of electric scooters. Develop an ordinance for properties that are owned within the historic district that have not been developed. This ordinance will place time limits on condemned properties. Ordinance and enforcement of existing ordinances is also good. I know my time is up. I would appreciate your vote. I will do you proud. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Jerry Davis.
terrified. I practice with my grandkids, and one of them asked me what I thought about pudding pops. And I told her I was a freeze pop kind of guy. The forum ended there. But I'm not here to take y'all's pudding pops. I am here to convince you to vote for a freeze pop. And I honestly feel like, and first off, I want to thank the chamber for having me. I appreciate that. I want to thank all of y'all for showing up, because Ellijay means something to y'all, and I believe that. And I've said it, we're here, this is a historic time for Ellijay. I mean, we've had, and the council, Katie, I appreciate the job you've done. And 20 years is a long time of service.
Thanks for bringing that up.
All of that. Linnell, I don't see Linnell here, and I can see maybe 4 years, seeming like 20 years worth of service. But I want to make a difference. And the whole thing is, Ellijay has good things and Ellijay has bad things. And as a good council person, you've got to sit down and discuss amongst yourselves solutions. And if you can come up with 100 solutions, maybe one of those will work. But if you don't talk about it, and you've got to talk about the bad too. I mean, you know, but you have to. I don't want to get into details there or anything, but my wife Iris, I've got 3 kids, 6 grandkids. I run a successful business. I've appraised houses for over 20 years. I hope that constitutes a successful business. You know, I was the first firefighter trained at Big Canoe. I've had a lot of firsts in my life that I'm proud of. It doesn't mean anything to anybody else, but it does to me. And you know, I was chairman of the DDA, and we got a lot of things done. And you know, I'm proud of those things. And it started when the DDA first started. As chairman, I got to just help finish some things that was started. The urban redevelopment plan was one of them that we fixed it up and we presented it to the city council, and that's a good thing to go by. But like I said, I want y'all to please consider a freeze bomb.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Next, I'd like to call up Mr. Brent D. Ford.
Thank you very much. I'm Brent D. Ford. I've lived inside the city limits of Ellijay for 44 years, which is my entire life. So I've got some roots in Ellijay also. I've got my wife and 2 boys back here. I'm on the planning and zoning committee for the city of Ellijay. I'm really excited about the way Ellijay is going. I'm excited about the council members that's been here and that's done it in the past. They've done a great job at keeping everything going. Me and my wife actually went to town the other day. We go down to Moo Bears, get some ice cream on Sundays. As we was pulling back out, we always parked down there next to the Penland's old store, and I looked up through there, and it was just bustling. This was at like 5:30 in the evening. And I told her, I said, look up there. I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see businesses come into Ellijay. I'm very pro-business. I got good common sense. I don't know what else to say, but you could remember me when you go to cast a ballot. I would appreciate it very much. I don't have a big speech or anything, so just keep me in mind, and I would appreciate it very much. If I can ever help y'all, I have an open door policy. You can call or come see me at any time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Next, I'd like to call up Mr. Al Fuller.
I love your dance.
I know. Awesome.
Thank you, Steve Burgess. Thank you, Paige, and those who work for you and help you with this. Thank you for coming. I'm nervous too. We're kind of close to East Ellijay. That's too close. My family's always lived here in Ellijay. I have a son that lives in the city limits. He teaches at Gilmer High School. I didn't want to bring my wife into this, but she teaches at Mountain Education here in Ellijay. I got to thinking about what I said at the last forum, and tried to give myself a few accolades. I did this, I did that. But really and truly, and Katie can attest to this, but to be on the city council takes a group effort. We all work together for one, hopefully one common cause. Ellijay is bustling right now. We really don't have room for all the people that want to come to downtown and start a business. So, with the help of the chamber, Gilmer County, Ellijay, East Ellijay, we're trying to make accommodations so we can help people that want to start a business here. I appreciate any advice that you can give me. I've been on the council for more years than I can remember, but I'm still excited. It's like fellas, it's like a 5K. You can see the finish line. So I hope we'll all be working hard. And again, I appreciate you coming out tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Court. With that, I'd like to call on Ms. Katie Lancey.
Thank you, Steve, and thanks to the chamber. I missed the last forum because I was in New York celebrating my birthday. And that was kind of coincidental because the very first night I got elected, I was in New York celebrating my birthday. So that's one thing you can know about me. We Lanceys like to celebrate. But Ellijay has changed a lot in 20 years. One thing that comes to mind is the old red light that used to be on the square. And all the wires and the utility poles that came with it that we had to take down when we took down that red light. There was no streetscape, there was no roundabout, there were no trees on the square. Downtown was pretty dead. There was no fire station because there was no fire department. Since I've been on the council, we've brought in the boardwalk as a new addition and Harrison Park. And all those things have been building blocks to get us to where we are now. And I think everyone in this room can agree that Ellijay has hit its stride. I think it's the best it's ever been. I understand at the last forum some issues were brought up, and I would like to address those since I wasn't there. And one was parking. I'm one of those people that thinks that a parking problem is a good problem to have. And I don't think Ellijay has a parking problem. I think Blue Ridge has a parking problem. But I think Ellijay, between the city parking lot and the huge county parking lot, there are plenty of room for cars. And most people that like to come and walk around the town, our visitors, they want to walk anyway. And let's face it, it takes probably less than 5 minutes to walk from the county parking lot to the Ellijay florist. So it's really not that big of a space. Annexation was brought up at the last forum. We have actually, the footprint of Ellijay has gotten bigger since I've been on the council. Right now, I think smart annexation would be a great idea. But I think from my point of view and from a public safety point of view, the police officers and the fire department's plate is full right now. So I don't see any annexation coming up. Taxes, I've heard from constituents, you gotta lower taxes. I've heard you gotta raise taxes. Blue Ridge's millage rate is 5.3, and I think that Jasper's 4.6. So we're right around where our neighbors are. So I know I need to wrap it up, so I'll just say this. We do know that we're gonna have a minimum of 3 new members on the council. And I'm excited about that new energy and the new ideas. But don't underestimate the importance of having some experience in municipal government. Keep us on the right track. Thank you.
Talking was very similar to New York. Was that very similar? This time I call it the Sandy Yacht, please.
Thank you for coming tonight. I grew up in Ellijay, and as a matter of fact, I spent most of my childhood and youth right down the road at the Piggly Wiggly Shopping Center, working with my mother, Bernice Davis Branch at Men and Boys. That's where I learned my work ethic, the love for this community, and the love for the people. My husband Roger and I are celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary this year, and we've made our home in the city limits of Ellijay along with our 3 children, Carter, who's 18 and a freshman at UNG, and Clay and Caroline, our 16-year-old juniors at GHS. I've spent 20 plus years of my career in higher education in the state of Georgia, both with the technical college system and the university college system. My career has focused on workforce and economic development, community engagement, planning and partnerships, budgeting, and grant experience at the local, regional, state, and federal level. I've had the opportunity to work with the Northwest Georgia Regional Development Center on multiple initiatives, as well as serving as the State of Georgia Representative for Higher Education for the Appalachian Regional Commission's Higher Education Network. And as I'm thinking, I want to share with you that my experience in all of these areas, I'm a graduate of the Georgia Academy of Economic Development, and I'm very excited to announce I have been accepted into the February 2020 class for the Georgia Academy because I want to stay current on the trends and issues that are facing our state, region, community, and the city of Ellijay. In 2016, I humbly accepted the University System of Georgia's Outstanding Leadership Award from the Chancellor. And as I'm thinking, and I want to share with you my platform, it is essential that we remember the past of the city of Ellijay, because everyone in this room loves the hometown of Ellijay, or we wouldn't be here and investing our time and energy tonight. We need to celebrate where we are and support those businesses that have invested in the city of Ellijay. They've invested their time and their financial resources, the citizens that call Ellijay home. And we need to plan. As Evelyn has mentioned, the Joint Comprehensive Plan, we need to plan strategically, intentionally, and with innovation. Because if you don't know where you're going, how will we know when we get there? I would appreciate your vote for City Council. Thank you.
Next, I would like to call up Mr. Kevin Pritchett.
Hello everyone, my name is Kevin Pritchett and I'm a lifelong resident of Ellijay, Georgia, and a 2004 graduate of Gilmer High School. During my time there, I was on the basketball, golf, and football teams. I was even a football captain. My parents are Doug and Lynn Pritchett, and my mom actually taught at Gilmer High School for 33 years. My dad, a former banker, now serves on the school board. I'm the lead surveyor for Jacob and Hebner for the state of Georgia. We're based out of Cobb County, but I've worked on jobs all over the state, both with GDOT, I worked at Hartsville, Jackson, and even more recently on the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I'm married to Reagan Pritchett, who is also a lifelong resident of Ellijay and a graduate of Gilmer High School. She is the daughter of Maynard and Denise Griggs and is currently a PhD candidate at Georgia State University, where she also teaches undergraduate political science courses. Over the last 34 years, I've watched Ellijay transform into a city we all know and love. And I can remember when shops like Interiors, Thompson Hall, Papa's Pizza, and Napa were all in the square. Since then, we have experienced growth and transformed ourselves into a premier tourist destination in North Georgia. We've welcomed new shops, restaurants, and even a college campus downtown. I want to continue to see Ellijay thrive with controlled and responsible growth that allows our taxes to stay low. If we want to compete with the surrounding cities and areas, we must continue to welcome tourists into our town. We must continue to make Ellijay attractive for those that wanting to bring in business, as well as tourists wanting to escape the hustle and bustle of Atlanta. By doing this, you increase your tax revenue without raising taxes on those that live within the city limits. We must walk a balance between protecting our small town feel and growing it for the sake of things like tourism. The small town feel and charm that attracts tourists to our beautiful mountain city, but we must have shops, restaurants, and other attractions to accommodate the number in need. There's an untapped potential in the areas along Sailor's Drive and the proposed development of the old plow mart. We must also stay on top of infrastructure issues by researching types of construction codes we need to properly implement to prevent issues down the road, part of the idea of responsible growth. I would also like to attract developments similar to subdivisions similar to ones like we already have. By adding more residents in the city, we will help to grow our tax base and also bring young professionals and families into our town. I would also like to continue the good work our past council has done with making sure our police force and fire department have top-of-the-line equipment and competitive pay. I'm always impressed with the job our street department does in taking care of this city. There's so much we are already doing right and so much that we've yet to discover. I want to be on the front end of that, helping preserve the beauty of our wonderful city, all while helping transform and go. Thank you, and I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Come up with President.
Good afternoon. How is everybody? Good. Yay. First, I think we need to raise some money for the chamber to replace the microphones. Other than that, a little about me. Married to Heather Simmons, who's here with me. This is Heather Chastain. I'm a former member of the DDA as vice chairman of the Downtown Development Authority and a past chamber ambassador. I understand what it takes to start growth and everything for downtown. As a business owner downtown, I'm a unique candidate because I see the need and the want. People want to talk about additional parking, bringing new beautification to downtown more, wider sidewalks, trees, parallel parking spots. I've heard a lot from the downtown business owners of how we can grow down North Main. I've also heard from the candidates that we're at a 3.1, just under a 3.2 millage rate in the city already. I'd like to not raise tax burden on the taxpayers of the city, but there's also new ways we can go about that with tax districts. If the downtown wants more money, we can tax just for the downtown. I see growth, I want growth. For downtown, we need housing. We've just upped our R3 levels to 10 units per acre, which is going to be a great growth idea for residents in downtown to be able to walk and have apartments come to town. The tourism project development team just visited not long ago. Some of the things that they want to talk about are chicken trucks. There's ways to do this, get them out of town. We've got to work with the state. I've personally talked to our U.S. Senator, or our state senator about this, and there's ways to go about it and money for that, but it's going to take money. And if the downtown businesses want to do that, we need to raise the money to fix those infrastructures. Other than that, I'm just here. I want your vote. I'd appreciate your vote. And thank you.
Great, thank you all very much. I know 3 minutes is really not a lot of time to express a lot of ideas, but certainly in context of trying to make this not a 4 or 5 hour event. And also, so now it's your time. I'd like to thank each of the candidates for participating tonight. It's your time now to ask the candidates what you are concerned about. The candidates have agreed to remain and meet with you in a mix and mingle type situation. I want to remind each of you guys to vote. Voting is on November the 5th. I voted early today. I did not have to wait for tonight's form because I am ineligible to vote in this particular election. But owning a business in here, I was very concerned about it as well. And so I very much enjoyed tonight's engagement from everyone. Thank you guys for your attention, your engagement tonight, and I invite you to stay and get your questions answered. We have about 45, 50 minutes before the program concludes, so please get up and engage. Thank you guys very much. Whoa. Oh, I was late because I didn't realize how late it was, so we have cookies and apple cider from who? From Paige? Oh, you cook? Oh.
And pressed apples earlier.
Oh, that's awesome.